I'm David Forrest reporting an arrest warrant is issued in the Bangkok bombing. Thai police say they are looking for a foreign man in the bombing that killed at least 22 people on Monday. Investigators have not yet established the man's motive or his nationality, but they suspect he was part of a network of people. Officials of the European Stability Mechanism on Wednesday formally approved the release of billions of dollars to help rebuild Greece's battered economy and pay its debt. Earlier, German lawmakers voted to approve the $95 billion bailout package, which will help Greece meet Thursday's deadline for a payment to international creditors. The human rights group Human Rights Watch is criticizing Egypt's new anti-terrorism law. HRW says the measure has an overly broad definition of what constitutes a terrorist act and leaves Egyptians open to stiff sentences for things that may amount to civil disobedience. Islamic State militants in Syria have beheaded the former director of antiquities in the city of Palmyra. IS militants seized the ancient city 3 months ago. Reports say 82-year-old Khaled Assad was killed on Tuesday in a public square in front of dozens of people. He had worked for 50 years on preserving the city's 2,000-year-old ruins. Israel's Supreme Court is suspending the detention of a Palestinian hunger striker who has suffered brain damage after 65 days without food. After a long day of deliberations, the Supreme Court announced late Wednesday that Mohammed Alan would remain hospitalized, but that his shackles would be removed. The court also ruled that his family can visit him. The decision did not address what would happen to Alan if he recovers. This is VOA News. The United Nations said Wednesday that it has received new rape allegations against peacekeepers in the Central African Republic. Margaret Bashir takes a look.
Last week, an angry Secretary General Ban Ki-moon fired the head of the mission, known as MINUSCA, over earlier rape allegations, which he said have tarnished the credibility of the United Nations. Wednesday, UN spokesperson Vanina Mastracci said headquarters had received new disturbing allegations of misconduct that happened in recent weeks in the central town of Bambari.
These new allegations concern a report that 3 young females were raped by 3 members of the MINUSCA military contingent.
Mastracci said one of the women was a minor. The UN Children's Fund, UNICEF, is assisting in providing medical and psychosocial support to the alleged victims. Margaret Bashir, the United Nations.
The U.S. Treasury Department has imposed sanctions on 15 Mexican businesses and 6 individuals because of their alleged support of a major drug cartel, the Los Cunas drug trafficking organization. Wednesday's action freezes any assets the accused may have in the United States, and Americans are barred from doing business with them. A Russian court has found Estonian security officer Eston Kover guilty of spying. Daniel Scharf reports.
The court in Russia's northwest Pskov region on Wednesday convicted Kover of spying, arms smuggling, and illegally crossing the border from Estonia. The 15-year sentence prompted a swift condemnation from Tallinn and the European Union. Estonia and the EU maintain Kover was abducted last September by Russian security agents on Estonia's side of the border. Catherine Ray is a spokeswoman for EU Foreign Affairs Chief Federica Mogherini.
Mr. Kover's abduction and subsequent illegal detention in Russia constitute a clear violation of international law.
Ray said the EU called on Russia to release Kover immediately and guarantee his safe return to Estonia. Daniel Scharf, Moscow.
State media say the owners of a warehouse that exploded in Tianjin, China last week used their relations with local officials to obtain apparently fraudulent safety licenses. In an interview with the official Xinhua news agency, 2 top shareholders of Rui Hai International Logistics admitted to using their connections to obtain the certifications. Two student activists in Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement have been charged with their involvement in last year's Occupy protest against Chinese rule. Alex Chow, the former leader of the Hong Kong Federation of Students, and Joshua Wong, head of the student activist group Scholarism, were formally charged on Wednesday with illegal assembly and inciting others to take part in an illegal assembly. On Wall Street, U.S. stock indexes were down today. From the VOA News Center in Washington, I'm David Forrest.
That's the latest world news from VOA.